Got it.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Celebrate with L.A. Williams. My name is L.A. Williams, and I am so excited and honored to bring to you this very special episode. Today, we are celebrating the one and only Mr. Devere Rogers. Devere! How's it going?
Oh, it's going so good.
Oh my
so
God.
Good. This is literally such a full circle moment. I love it so much.
It's such a full circle moment, which we're going to get into in a little bit. Before I give a deeper introduction of you, Devere, I'd like to take a couple seconds just to talk about what Celebrate is and what it means to me, if that's okay with you.
Yes, of course.
So this series is a manifestation of a moment I had as a very young theater student. I was at Alabama State University. It was my first semester on campus. I had never seen a play, didn't know anything about acting, any of it, drama, theater, any of it. And I went over to the theater building to see a production of a play called Phaedra by Jean Racine, and it was directed by Professor Dr. Tommy Stewart. And it was one of those experiences where the moment the lights went down and the lights came up, I knew I was about to be given my entire life. I knew that I was all automatically changed, and I knew that I wanted to make a life in the theater. But what I also knew from watching that performance over and over again that weekend, because I went back to every show after that, was that I needed to find everybody involved in that production and say thank you to them. Yeah. I needed to say thank you to them, Devere. I needed to let them know how they had changed me, how they had inspired me, and how they had given me something to sort of hope for and aspire to. It was fabulous. And that truly was the genesis of Celebrate. Cut to 2012, I'm living in New York City, and I have this sort of divine inspiration to create an interview platform where I sit down with some of those people whose work has really kind of lifted me up and inspired me, and sort of talk to them about, their journey and learn about what were some of the transformative moments in their life that kind of led them to where they are and to creating the work that they make. So Celebrate really is essentially about transformation. It really is about journey and all of that juiciness. And here we are, 2022. As you know, we're all like pulling through this pandemic. We are surviving. We're doing the thing. And I made a personal commitment last fall to go out and see shows. I was like, you know what? These people are on the front lines for us, reopening theater, making art to inspire and uplift us. The least I can do is be an audience member and go out and be a witness to this very historic moment. And I'm so glad I did, Devere, because that's when I got to see you. Hey, God.
Hey.
Devere. Devere. I got to see you make your incredible Broadway debut in Douglas Lyon's Chicken and Biscuits, directed by Jalen Livingston, who directed that thing.
Baby.
Devere. First of all, I am so unbelievably proud of you and happy for you. And I'm going to get into more of this later. I'm going to be loving on you a lot, so get used to it. I'm so proud and happy for you, but I'm also so inspired by the gorgeous work you put on that stage. It was so wonderful, Devere, to see you full out, as we say. Yeah.
Full out.
Yes, full out. To see you full out live in full effect. And I was just so inspired by all the work that happened on the stage. So I wanted to sit down with you and thank you and congratulate you and celebrate you. One more thing I'll say before I move forward is, Devere Rogers, oh Lord. You are one of the few people who I can actually say I have known since the beginning of my journey in New York. I mean, I met you pretty much right in the beginning of my time here.
Right at the beginning.
And in the very beginning. And I remember specifically attending a workshop reading of your gorgeous, brilliant piece called Excuse Me, Ladies and Gentlemen, My Name Is. And I remember sitting in that audience, and it was produced by the brilliant The Movement Company, theater company. And right? Am I right about that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, this was,
you surely are.
This was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. And I remember meeting so many wonderful people, Jonathan McCrory, Eric Lockley, David Mendizabal. I think I just ruined his last name, but I definitely met all of you, I think, at that time. And it was in Sandra A. Daly, Sharif. So anyway, but I was so taken by this really piece that I found, this really beautiful piece that I found to be innovative and original. And unlike anything I had seen or heard, I found it to be musical. Right. I found all these things that now make so much sense as I've watched your journey over the years, because that is exactly who you are. A beautiful, multi-talented, interdisciplinary, full artist who can do a lot of different things. And so that was my introduction to you. And then we did a bunch of things after that. We did a whole reading together, a showcase reading where I had us doing African dances on stage, just in rehearsal. That was just rehearsal. They had nothing to do with the show. Devere, it had nothing to do with the show. Okay.
And I went with you. I just said, let's go.
That's when I knew you were my person. That's when I knew you were my friend and my person, because I was like, anybody who can go to Africa with me just to go is a friend of mine. And so anyway, that's just the beginning of our journey together. And it's been so lovely to watch you grow and flourish and bring that inherent joy and freedom that you embody so beautifully, Devere, to everything that you do. Everything that you do. And I'm gonna love on you a little more, and we'll get into some of these things later. But I just wanted to start off by sort of laying the groundwork and letting you know why I asked you to be here and why I'm so full when I think about you and your journey.
Thank you so much for that, LA. That truly means the world, especially coming from you, where you were there at the beginning, as I sort of was coming out of school and coming into this industry and into this world. Like I cherish these moments like this, because it's like we stood the test of time. We're still here.
We're still here. Come on now.
We're still doing it,
And we're still doing it. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? It's true.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. It's so true. Devere, the way I like to start these Celebrate conversations off is by asking or just saying, let's start by celebrating the day you were born. Right. And that idea is meant to have you take us back as far as you possibly can, as far as you want us to go, and just kind of talk to us either about your birth story or growing up as a young child, or just any place you want us to go. Take us there.
Yeah. So, first, I was born November 2nd, 1987, in the beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes. Yes.
So, being born in the South, I think was such a blessing and taught me so much. Growing up, I was always the performer of the family. I feel like I was one of the only people who was always dancing at the cookouts or doing little skits, at the barbecues, and telling, my aunts and uncles, come watch me do this dance, come watch me do the moonwalk. Like I was always that kid,
that child, yeah.
That I was always that child. And when I was about 8 years old, I saw the movie The Wiz, and it changed my life. With Michael Jackson and Ted Ross and Diana Ross. And I remember, I'll never forget watching it for the first time and thinking like, I want to do that. I'm going to do that. And from watching that movie, I literally was like, I'm a performer. I then became obsessed with Michael Jackson. I literally would watch all of his videos. I would watch Jackson 5, The American Dream, that miniseries. Oh, baby, when I tell you, I had my daddy videotaping, and I would watch that videotape every day after school.
Every day.
Baby, Miss Angela Bassett, baby, she just...
She said, I don't want you. I don't want you no more. Woo! I said, this is an acting fool. That's what I said.
Acting fool. And so I just became obsessed with anything dance, anything performance. And then also I was in church, so I was in the choir, so I was singing too. So I was having this full sort of like all around experience as an artist growing up, which was beautiful, which was great to have. And so as I got older, I like when I was around 13, I joined this performing troupe called the Freddie Hendrix Youth Ensemble of Atlanta, which is like world renowned. I mean, the people who come out of there are, Saquon Simblas, Keenan Thompson, San Gauja, Jakina Calacango. I mean, like all these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people and artists and spirits that sort of like molded who I was as an artist. And so I started doing that, and then I went to Tri-Cities High School, which again is the home of so many other just brilliant artists, Broadway artists, musical artists, Outkast, Escape, you know, like, and just the home of, like, truly the home of like Black talent in the Southeast. Like Tri-Cities, like really, they pushed us to be our best selves, you know, and also going to a predominantly Black performing arts high school was a very transformative experience for me, because it let me know who I was as an artist so young. You know, I knew who I was. I knew what type of art I wanted to create. I knew I wanted to be centered in my Blackness, you know, and so just having that experience at between the ages of like, you know, 15 to 18, it was truly, it set the groundwork for what I'm doing now and who I am now.
Ooh, I love that.
You know, and so from leaving Tri-Cities High School, I went to NYU, I went to Tisch, and that's where I studied theater with a minor in Africana Studies. And that too was also very transformative, and also really a culture shock, because I had only grown up in the South. And also I had only really grew up around Black people. So here was my, you know, here was like this culture shock of being around so many different types of people, and knowing how to not only interact with them, but talk to them and sort of be open to their experiences as well, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
And it was so transformative for me, because I truly was able to see the world. Like I felt like New York City showed you really what the world looks like and what the world is. And what I love about New York is that so many dreamers, so many artists go to New York to live out their dream, and they connect with each other. That's what I think is so beautiful about New York, is that, and it's, as you know, when you came to New York, like you meet all these people where you all have similar goals, you all have similar passions, and you all literally become gelled together as one. You know, like there is even as I, you know, I'm living in LA now and all that, every time I look up, I see someone who I came up with doing what they were meant to do.
That's
right. You know?
Yes, exactly.
And that is such a blessing, you know, it's such a blessing to be able to say, like, we all came up at the same time. You know, it's something beautiful in that, you know.
Devere, I love that. Thank you for that beautiful reminder about how we are blessed to be able to live in a place like New York City, and to be a part of New York City, and be able to see other dreams come alive, you know. I mean, what a gorgeous outlook. I appreciate that. If you don't mind, I'd like to kind of scoot back just a little bit and unpack a couple of things that I heard in that sort of upbringing story, because you kind of gave us a beautiful, like, here it all is. I'm curious about when you were a young child or growing up at home. Were you the only child? Did you have siblings? Or like, what was the sort of structure of the house that you grew up? I'm just trying to get a sense of young Devere's like every day.
Yeah. So I was I am an only child.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, but I got a lot of cousins. But I'm only child. And so it was my mom and my dad, and my dad's mom, my grandmother, lived with us as well. So the structure literally was like going to school. I was also, because I am such an extrovert, very Devere, I used to get in trouble a lot at school, because I would finish my work early before everyone was done, and I would just walk around and talk to people and sing and do all the things, and you know, and so I used to go to detention, not because I was like bad per se, but just like I would be like, I need something. I need
something
to do
else
something.
to do.
I need something else to do.
The assignment, the paperwork is done.
The paperwork is done. Like, I need something to do. And what I love about my mom and my dad is that they sort of like, instead of like punishing me per se, they sort of like channel that energy into like performance. And like when I was showing interest in like, I want to perform on it, they sort of found things for me to do that sort of channeled that sort of like frenetic, like, I need to do something energy. And so it was very much like, once I told them this is what I wanted to do, they both were on board, you know, and supporting me in that. Because then again, I was literally the only person in my family who was an artist.
An artist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Devere, how, what a blessing. What a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And let's take a second to celebrate your parents, truly.
Yeah.
You know, I think part of what I find in these conversations is that, you know, it's important for us, the larger us, to hear that there are stories where young artists are supported and encouraged and given the space, right? And also it's important that we realize that that is not everybody's
very true
story, you know. And so taking a moment to celebrate that is, I think, very important. And you know, kudos to your parents for saying, I'm not going to punish you and put you on Ritalin and do all these other things that
right, because they wanted to do that. And my
I know, I'm sure they
like,
did.
My parents
I'm sure they did.
Don't need no medicine. He don't need no medicine. He don't need no medicine. Just
ain't nothing wrong with him.
Ain't nothing wrong with him.
Ain't nothing wrong with him. I just love us. Do you hear me? Ain't nothing wrong with my child.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Meanwhile,
my child.
you at the school tearing up the house, the building.
Tearing up the house, just desk flipped over. But ain't nothing wrong with him. He just needs something else to do. Y'all give him some more work. Give him some more work.
Give him some more work. Oh, Lordy Devere, I'm done with you. We're not going to start this early. But listen, that is so real though, right? Like having parents be like, no, ain't nothing wrong with him. No, he just needs something to do. What would you say was like one of the things you remember them sort of getting you involved in? I know you said you sang in the church, you know, you were doing a lot of extracurricular stuff, but what was one moment that you really remember?
I would say, honestly, it was around church because my mom was having church, so I was in church all the time. And one of the first things that I truly remember was my church was doing a play. I think it was like an Easter play. It was like an Easter play of some sort, but it was like one of those Easter plays that wasn't just about like Easter. It was about like Black people transitioning from you know, Africa all the way. You know how the Easter, you think it'd be about Christ, and then it just go different. It'd be about Jesus, and then it'd be about like, you know, Martin Luther King, and then it'd be about like, you know, you just be like, what's happening over here?
What is going on, y'all? You got a lot of ideas on this stage. Jesus.
So literally, I remember my mom was just like, I think you should do this play. So I did this play, and so it was the Black people section of the Easter play where they were celebrating, which is great. They were sort of celebrating like Black leaders in the community. And I was cast to play this man named LaVan Hawkins, who was the president of Checkers. You know, the Checkers restaurant?
Yes.
He was the president of Checkers restaurant, and he came from Atlanta, Georgia. And I remember I was cast as LaVan Hawkins, and that was the first time I had a monologue, and I had to learn the lines, and I had to go out, and I had this checkered folder because, you know, like hint checkers. And I went out there and I was like, I am LaVan Hawkins. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And so literally, I remember the church being like, whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of the first times where I was just like, I could do this. I like this. This is fun, you know.
This is fun.
And you know, for years after that, there were so many people in the church who would just be like, "Hey, Mr. LaVan Hawkins," you know, like,
oh,
you know how
nice.
Black folks are.
Oh, yes, I do know.
But I remember that was like a moment that I'll never forget, because it sort of like was my first time doing like theater, because I was young. I was like maybe 10 or 11. It was my first like theatrical experience. And then from there, I did a play at my school where I was like the lead, and I had to learn all these. It started from church, and then like I was just like, I'm doing this theater thing. I'm doing this theater thing. You know, it was something that just fed my spirit, fed my soul. And once I knew that was it, I literally was like, that's it, you know. And my dad was a sports writer at the time, and so because he was a sports writer, he had me in a lot of sports too. And I just was not. It was not in my ministry to do sports. I played every sport. I did basketball, football, soccer, baseball, swimming. I did everything.
Every sport.
And it was one of those things. After each season, I would look at my dad and I'd be like, No,
This
that's
ain't
not it. That's not
it.
it. That's not it.
This ain't it either. And
This
this
ain't
ain't it
exactly.
either.
This ain't it either. This ain't it either. But hitting
And
that
what was
stage
his
is what I
reaction to
knew.
those when you
What I love about my father is that his reaction was always, okay, all right. You know, it was never like you have to do this. It was never like
never
you got to stick.
judgmental.
It was no judgment. It was just like, all right, well, that's not it. So let's see if there's something else you like. You know, he was very much about just sort of exploring, you know, and also having, you know, a father figure and a male figure to give you the freedom to explore.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
which
Yes,
is
Devere.
which is truly I know is a blessing and a privilege that a lot of
Yes.
people don't have. So to be able to have that, it sort of helped affirm who I am and who I was. And when I told him that I was, you know, told both of my parents that, you know, I want to be an actor and I want to perform, they were like, great. So you're gonna put your all and do your all and give your best, and you're gonna be the best at this, you know.
Oh wow, Devere. Ooh,
So
Devere.
I think it's always it's never, you know, not a day goes by where I am just grateful to have parents who literally, once I said I'm going to be an artist, they were like, then be the best artist there is.
Oh my God, Devere. Yes, Lord. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Devere. Thank you, parents of Devere. Thank you for sharing that beautiful story. I mean, again, it's just so important to hear, especially the male figure part, right?
Yeah.
That affirmation, not only from your father or a parent, but like from a male figure, is also extremely important. Thank God. And the other thing I'll say really quickly about that, Devere, is that listening to you talk about that makes so much sense to me, because I do feel that sense of exploration in your artistry. I also feel that sense of freedom and non-judgment, right? So what it makes me think about is how important it is to lay a foundation of love.
Yes.
Right. Yep. And if the foundation is love, you feel it and you see it. And again, like I said earlier, I definitely feel those things from you in your work and outside of your work. So it all makes sense, right? So talk to me really quickly about, was there like a key moment at Tri-Cities? You mentioned Tri-Cities, which I've heard about. Was there like a pivotal moment in that time, during that time, where you were like, okay, I'm definitely on the right track? Or was there a moment of like, transformation?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Tri-Cities there were so many modes of transformation in Tri-Cities, and there are so many people, especially just in the theater and Broadway community alone, that came from our school, Tri-Cities, and it was because we were being taught by Black artists, Black professionals who not only have performed, you know, in their career, but also knew what it took, and so they pushed us, you know, to be our best. They pushed us to never settle, you know, they pushed us to always find the truth in each moment. And they really instilled in us, you know, we have to be 10 times better to be considered half as good. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. It's true.
Because they were coming from that, they never let us slack off. They never treated us like we were high school students. They treated us like we were professional artists, you know? And so being able to have that sort of training from 15 to 18, again, set the standard for my artistry. And, you know, a lot of us joke, but I was sort of like, you know, we had grad school at Tri-Cities. Like, that's what I felt like. We like, for real though. And anyone who went to Tri-Cities knows what I'm talking about. We had grad school. We had a grad school program at Tri-Cities, you know? And so, I mean, there were just so many moments. One of my, you know, two of my teachers, Twanana Baluku and and Robert Connor, they were notorious for making sure that truth rang true in everything that we did. So one of the moments that I'll never forget is like coming out on stage, and I had my monologue, and I thought I was kind of prepared, but I wasn't. But I was like, I know my monologue, but I'm just gonna go out here and just like do it. And I went out there, and in the first like 20 seconds, Mr. Connor was like, I don't believe you. You're not prepared. Get off the stage. And I remember being shook. It was the first time that, honestly, I honestly had been told that I was doing a great job. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those, because you know, when you're younger, everyone's just like, "Oh, baby, you did so good. It's just so good." And this was the first time that I had an artist be like, "I don't believe you. You didn't do your work." You know, and it changed me, because it made me be like, "Oh, I don't like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of like someone being like, you're not being truthful, or this isn't good, or you can go further. I don't believe you."
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was a true transformative moment in my life as an artist and as a theater maker, because that is as theater artists, we always are striving for truth.
That's
right. You know, whether as a writer, as an actor, we're always striving for truth. We're always striving for finding the humanity in anything that we're doing.
That's right.
So that moment changed me, and honestly made me be like, every time I hit a stage, I want them to believe me. No matter what character I'm doing, no matter what story I'm telling, I want the audience to believe me.
Yeah. Ooh,
you
Devere.
know,
Devere. Ooh.
Yeah. And so that was a true transformative moment. And also being at that school, which was predominantly Black, it introduced me to all the great Black theater, you know what I'm saying? The great Black musicals. Like it's where I was introduced to August Wilson. It's where I was introduced to Kia Cawthorn. It's where I was introduced to, Dreamgirls and Once on This Island, and, and all these beautiful shows that we were able to do. I was able to do Pearly, I was able to do Pearly. I was able to do, Raising the Musical. I was able to do all these beautiful productions that were predominantly Black, and that literally cemented my artistry.
I love that.
Yeah, so it was truly a training ground that created the artist that you see, that is here, that you met when we met. Like it truly laid the foundation for all of that.
Yes, Devere, I can tell. It makes so much sense hearing you talk about it. And again, it's just so evident in your being. Thank you for sharing that. I have a quick, just tiny question. Do you have to audition to get into Tri-Cities, or how?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
You have to audition,
and it's pretty competitive, I imagine.
Oh,
Atlanta.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So you have to audition, and I believe my monologue, you had to have a monologue. And it was my first time, like, I remember when they said you have to have a monologue and a song, and I was like, okay. And I think I sang some gospel song, because I was in church. I sang stuff like, just like, I'm gonna give you a little gospel. And then my monologue was from the play, was from Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, August Wilson. And a friend of mine who we were in the Freddie Hinch Youth Ensemble of Atlanta together told me about Ma Rainey. And it was one of the first times that I actually heard about August Wilson. And she was like, there's this play, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Yeah, they had some really great monologues for young Black men. And so I ended up learning the Levy monologue, that Levy, does. And I was 14, 15. And I came, and I remember I went into that room at Tri-Cities for my audition. And Twa, who was sort of watching the auditions, was like, so what are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to do Levy from Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And he was like, oh, okay. When you say you're doing Levy, you got to do Levy.
Yeah.
And so I remember I was like, I'm gonna kill this. I remember doing this monologue, and I remember talking, I was just like, great work. We'll be in touch. And I left being like, I know I got in. Like, I just know I got in. Like, I was like, I have to get in. And so I did get in. And then, Twa was one of the first people to after doing that audition, was just like, he was like, of course, we got some things to work on, but he was like, I saw your passion. I saw your fire. I believed you in that, in that moment, and so I think it's that also, again, just another transformative moment of like, that is what I would be doing for the rest. It's auditioning, like that first audition prepared me for what I will be doing. It's moments like that you don't even realize truly formed inform you, you know?
That's right. That's right. That's right. So you're in New York now. You're at NYU undergrad. You it sounds like you had a pretty full experience there. Was there a moment there that you felt really shifted something in you, or changed the game, or?
Yeah. So a moment at NYU that really sort of changed it and shifted. And so again, this cementing of me as an artist was I was a part of this the musical theater program, and it was they were not very aware or keen of how to teach artists of color, which became very apparent to me. And it sort of felt like they were trying to erase who I was in order to create something new, where I was saying, I know who I am. I know this is the type of artistry I want to do. Help me make that better. Don't try to erase, you know, who I am, how I talk, how I sing, how I do this, how I do that. Take me from where I am and make it better.
And make it better.
You know what I'm saying? And make it better.
Yeah.
That's what I'm paying you to do. And so there was definitely some friction at the program, and I had to get into it with some, you know how I am, I had to get into it with some folks. But it also taught me to stand up for myself.
Yes,
you
God.
know, when especially in theater, in art, in this industry, period, especially when you're a Black artist, people can try to make your art not feel relevant. People can try to make you feel like you are less than. And you have to stand up and say, actually, I'm more than. And I'm supposed to be here. And I'm supposed to be here. And so a huge transformative moment was when I had, you know, an unfortunate, you know, incident happen at the program. I had to talk to the heads of the program. I had to talk to the head of NYU to be like, look, this is a problem here at this school, and it has to be changed. It has to be shifted, because what I'm coming to have this conversation because I'm not only looking out for myself, but I'm looking out for the students that come after me.
Yes,
I'm looking out for the people that come after me. And incidents like that, and especially at that school at that time, it made me really realize that, like, I have to be an advocate out here for Black art in this world. You know what I'm saying? And I have to be loud about it. I have to be unapologetic. And it's like, I'm so grateful, you know, NYU was a lot of things, but I'm so grateful that that's one thing that it instilled in me, is to speak up. Because there were so many people before me who maybe didn't have the courage to. You know, there were so many people who maybe wanted to say what I wanted to say, but didn't know how to say the words.
Right.
And I felt like God placed me at that school during that time and made me go through those things to be able to tell every, you know, especially Black artists out there, to like always speak up, always say, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's because this, especially, you know, Broadway theater, the New York theater, like they will make you feel like you're not it. You know what I'm saying? They'll make you feel like you're not it, and you have to remember that you are.
Yeah,
you know, God. You got to always remember your agency and remember your power. Yes. Because there is no show without you.
That's right. Yes. And they will trick you. And they will trick you. They will trick your mind and have you believe in the wrong thing.
Exactly. To have you believe in the wrong thing. And so for me, it's like that is the one lesson that I'm so grateful for, because I take that with me in everything that I do, whether it's theater, whether it's film, whether it's TV. I walk in with already a sense of agency to come into the building and know that, you guys, I'm here for a reason. You hired me for a reason. And so, you know, I tell a lot of my friends, I say, gone are the days of just being happy to be here. I'm supposed to be here.
Get off my phone. Get off my phone. Get off my phone. Yes, Devere, can I just say, there's nothing else to be said, but I just want to thank you for really acknowledging for yourself and sharing with us what you really took away from the NYU experience. And I want to acknowledge how profound that is, and how it really speaks to the way in which we all should be able to and allow ourselves to look back at these experiences and find the real juice of it, right? Right. You know, sometimes, you know, maybe I didn't learn my best acting work right? But maybe I
Right.
learned how to use my voice, right? And that's just as valuable, right? And that's not to say you didn't deserve to learn about the thing that you went there for, but the fact that your mind is in a place where you can acknowledge and see that there was still value in that. And perhaps that and the gift that you received while there was this, this thing of like, I know how to stand up and say the thing that needs to be said. That actually will take you a lot further than, rolling on the floor, doing voice work, right. And rolling on the floor in the way that they say you should be rolling on the floor. Exactly. Right. Because now if I was going to roll on the floor, like go to Africa, the way
go to Africa.
If I wanted to go to Africa. Do you hear me? So yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
We have to tell that story.
I know the Africa story. It's just too much. But no, thank you, Devere. So when you graduated from NYU, what happened? How did you enter into like the professional world?
So I graduated from NYU, and I literally I was praying because once you're out in the real world, all you want to do is work. All you want to do is book. All you want to do, And so before I graduated, I was praying. I was just like, Lord, please, as soon as I graduate, I want to work. I want to get a gig. I want to have a gig. And God be working fast. He work on his time. So literally on my day of all school graduation, I couldn't even make all school graduation because I had a gig at one of the playhouses in upstate New York. So I literally couldn't go to graduation because I booked the gig. It was Sophisticated Ladies. It was Sophisticated Ladies, which is an amazing show. And I would say this was a transformative experience for me because it was my first professional gig literally after graduating. And also it was the first time that I was cast like purely, and when I say this, it's like purely an ensemble player. Like no solos, no themes, no lines, no, just literally an ensemble player. And it was transformative for me because, being in high school and being in college, like I was always a lead. I was all, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it taught me so much, it literally, it taught me so much. And for me, what I loved about it, because like Sophisticated Ladies is a singing and dancing show, and if you're in the ensemble in that show, you are a dancer, you are, and again, I can dance. So clearly I booked the show, so I can dance. But it was the one time where I didn't look like everyone else in the ensemble. Like I was taller, I was bigger. Like I wasn't a dancer per se, but I was still cast, and I asked the director. I was like, and because again, I was also insecure about it because I was like, these are dancers, and we had to do partnering work, and we had to do all this stuff, and I was like, I ain't never done this before. Like I just got out of school, like I could, and it was such a crash course of just like all the things that it takes to put on a musical and to be a true triple threat. It really was, and the director told me, he was like, yes. He was like, I knew you weren't like a dancer per se, or I knew, you haven't done ensemble work, but he was like, it was something about your spirit. And I knew that that you having this experience would make you even better than what you already are.
Yeah.
And so it was such a beautiful experience. And I met so many, lifelong friends from that, one show. I still have like three to four close friends that I met from that show. But it was really transformative for me because it sort of prepared me for what, the grind of being a theater artist is, and especially in New York City. It prepared me for that, so it was like having that right out of school, and then the grind of the EPAs, the ECCs, waking up at like 6 a.m. to stand in line, having my book, having, jazz shoes in my bag, tap shoes in my bag, going to audition, like those type of experiences, again, like sort of how we talked about earlier, which makes you gel with artists. That's how you become family, because we all were out there, especially, in it. You know, it is so, I just even talking about it right now, it's so mind blowing to think how we all started and how we all were so hungry, and we're still hungry, but like we were so young and so hungry and just wanted to do the thing.
Yeah, we were so about it. Yeah,
we were so about it, just wanted to do the thing and wanted to do, whether it was a reading, whether it was a workshop, whether it was, you know, Broadway, whether it was off Broadway, whether it was whatever. Like we just knew that we had to be on a stage and we had to tell stories. And so like being in that city after graduation, again, just made me the person who I am today. It made me the artist I am, and also the work ethic, you know, like the truly to have that hustle and grind mentality of, I am going to be my best self in 16 bars. I'm going to be my best self in one monologue. I'm going to be my best self in a cold read. You know, like it's like during that process, that also makes you a better artist.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and so it was also so beautiful because also during that time where we're working and grinding, coming, we have the writers who are doing the same thing. We have the directors who are doing the same thing. And we all are meeting each other and working on new work and working on old work and just doing the thing, you know, together. And for me, like there are so many times after graduation, like literally meeting you for Dinah, you know, like
House of Dinah or the Black Queen by the great Jerome Parker.
Oh, Jerome, by the great Jerome Parker. And literally like, and I forget who told me about the audition for Dinah, but all I know is like, I'm going, I have to go. And you were sitting there, LA, you was like, I'm directing this thing. And I came in, I think I sang a song, did a monologue, and then you were like, now walk back to the door and say that song like a monologue as you walk forward. I was like, who is this? I was like, who is this man? But I was like, let's go. I'm always like, let's go.
That's exactly how you were, Devere. Ooh, child. How dare you embarrass me on this thing today, Lordy.
Like you were giving the kids direction back then. You were telling the kids to do it all back then.
Oh my God, what now? You couldn't tell me, baby. I was like, look, but it really, gosh, Devere. Ooh, Lordy. Thank you for reminding me of myself, child. Because I totally remember that entire moment. But what I will say about that particular audition from my perspective was that kind of like what I just heard you say, someone else told you, I was able to recognize instantly your spirit. And the truth within you. And so part of whatever I was asking you to do, child, forgive me, was me exercising that muscle and seeing like, let me see if what I'm feeling is real. Let me see, you know, but also we're always all seeking truth and authenticity. Right. Exactly. And it was also, I think, my way of being like, let me see if this person can connect with the authentic part of me. Like, let me see the thing that I'm feeling. Let me see if it's a real synergy here. But yeah, I totally remember that audition. And I remember being in rehearsals with you for that after we cast you and just feeling incredibly safe and seen. And, you know, God knows what was going on with that. I mean, we were just putting it together. I know I just had y'all walking up and down the aisle.
You had us walking up and down the aisle. And this is where the Africa story comes in. We were in, I think it was like getting into the space. We were just like getting into the space and like figuring out blocking in the space and all that. And LA was telling us to move here and move very specific ways with the music and all that. And a lot of them were not understanding and we're not getting it. And so, you know, and LA was like, I need y'all to give me Africa. and everyone looked quizzical and I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I need Africa. I need Zimbabwe. I need our kings. I was like, LA is going in right now. Talking about he needs Africa. And everyone else was just like, well, what do you mean by that? And I was like, I got you.
I got you.
And then I did, and then I did it, and then
yes, you did.
And then LA was like, that's
right.
I need that.
That right there, my friends. That's it. Oh my God. And you know what? And thank you, Devere, for that story and for reminding me of young director LA. Because there were so many lessons in that, right? Because I can see now, I'm looking back like, what does Africa mean? But I'm glad that I had one person in the room to help me translate, right?
Yeah.
And that's the brilliant thing about working with collaborators like yourself, who, again, there's an authentic connection, there's a deeper understanding and a deeper knowing, but also like, there's a level of support and, so that they can translate. Because as a director, sometimes you don't have the words. Right. Sometimes you don't have all the words or the right words even. Yeah. Sometimes it's a feeling. So thank you for that, Devere. Thank you for sharing that incredible story. Because every time we see each other, we always talk about Africa. It's just so funny. And that whole experience was great. And I should say for the audience, mind you, Devere, that was just a showcase, child.
I know.
I was directing that thing like it was a Broadway musical.
Like you couldn't have told us we weren't going to transfer to the booth. You couldn't have told us. We rehearsed and was doing that thing like we was about to go to the Belasco the next week. You could not tell LA we was not going to Broadway. We was going to Broadway.
And still to this day, if you give me a 29-hour reading, I'm gonna direct that thing for the Broadway stage, baby. Okay, I'm directing the meat out of it. Isn't that interesting? The fact that you could see that and at that time is hilarious. Thank you for that, Devere. Okay, so cool. We can go on, you and I. I mean, we can kiki for a long time. Exactly. I want to just take a few seconds to talk about, Chicken and Biscuits, and your incredible performance in that play, and just kind of, celebrate it. Just celebrate it. Really take a moment to just say thank you for that performance, Devere, and congratulations again and again and again. And it was one of those things where when I saw that you were going to be in it, I mean, it made so much sense in the way that you have earned it, as we just listened to you talk about. You had earned it. You had put in the work. You had, like you said, stood outside the buildings at 6 a.m. with jazz shoes in your bag. And so I think it's important that we really take a moment to stop and smell the roses, not just when we get Broadway, but when we are doing the showcase downtown on East 4th Street, when we are, but, Devere, it's not lost on me or a lot of us in our community that you deserve that moment and you rose to it. And you did such a great job. So really, it's not even a question. It's more so just congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much, LA. That means the world.
Really, thank you. It was so, I tell you, I was near about in tears watching you because your performance was so Devere, so spirited, so funny, and muscular, and the way you moved around that stage and worked the comedy of it. Like, I just remember being so joyed by it all. And I just was really, really very, very happy to see you. And another thing I wanted to say while I have you, Devere, and celebrate, since this is really me celebrating you, is I want to celebrate that spirit that you have, Devere. Hear me now. Because I think we don't take enough time. We always talking about, oh, Broadway, yay, cute, whatever. Right. But like, we have to celebrate the fortitude, that inherent fortitude, and that inherent spirit, and that inherent passion that we're getting from you, and that we see with you, and that people have told you your whole life. Like, there's a cost to that, and the fact that you still have it and it hasn't been extinguished. Right. I think is worthy of celebration, Devere. You always come with light and fullness and joy. You imbue it in your work, and I felt that so much. So I just want to, like, all the other cute stuff aside, I just want to celebrate the fact that you are always so full of energy and light and love and joy. And hearing you talk about your background makes it all make so much sense. You've always been supportive. You've always had this really incredible ability, as evidenced in the Africa story, to like see and know. And you understand truth similar to the way I understand it. And so I just want to celebrate that and appreciate that. And yeah, y'all, Chicken and Biscuits, I was so, the thing that I think I want to say to everybody in that production, including you, is thank you for the joy and the humor y'all brought me. You know what I mean? Like I laughed, I cackled, but it wasn't just like funny kiki la la. It was also the truth.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a lot of truth on that stage, meaning I saw a lot of people that I know, real people, a lot of people that I know and love, who I was like, that's my cousin. Or that's my sister, or that's me, or that's my, you know, and I loved the representation of those people and those characters, and the way y'all embodied them was so beautiful, Devere. And to see your tall, beautiful model-esque figure on that stage being funny and moving around, and like I was in awe. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy.
Oh, thank you, LA. I mean, it was such a beautiful experience to be able to not only make my debut, you know, in that show, but in a show so unapologetically Black.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
And filled with joy and filled with love. Like it truly was a dream come true. It truly was a dream of like, of how I imagined what my debut would look like, which is what I've always like, originating a role, making it, being as Black, being funny, doing all the things that
and free,
bring me and free, you know, like it truly was a true dream come true. And the fact that we were able to do it, and the fact that it touched so many people, you know, in the short amount of time that we were doing it, it is a testament to, you know, the work, is a testament to the cast, is a testament to the community, you know.
Absolutely.
And I hope and know that there will be more plays like that to be on, that's just, that is unapologetically Black, unapologetically, you know, queer, unapologetically like it, about love and joy, and and showing people, you know, that we matter, that our stories matter.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That our church stories matter. You know,
that's exactly right.
And they can be great, and they can be hilarious, but they can also be truth, and they can also be real, and they can also be on Broadway.
And they can also be on Broadway. Yeah, I think, and I want to clarify something. When I say, you know, seeing those kind of people on stage, I think what I mean is church people. You know, like church people, because that's such a big part of who we are. Whether we attend church or not, it's in our blood, right? It's in our DNA, it's in our history. And that's what I mean specifically when I talk about, I'm so happy to see those kind of people, my kind of people, you know,
our kind of people
on the stage. So thank you for that. Devere, and I want to say one more thing in the spirit of loving on you, which is thank you to Anya and Alana and Michael Urie, who blew me away, and Norm Lewis and Natasha Yvette. Please don't let me mess these folks' names up. Cleo King, am I doing it right?
Yeah, you're doing it right.
I mean, and who am I?
Ebony Marshall Oliver.
Oh God.
The Ebony Marshall Oliver.
All of them. I mean, listen, Ebony Marshall, child, somebody need to.
Listen,
that lady. Let me tell you something. Anya, Devere, Anya.
Oh, don't, I could go on and on about my whole.
I know. That's Anya, a whole. These are, These are a lot. When Alana came out, I was anyway. But what I want to say about all of you is, or to all of you, is again, Devere, thank you, because the other thing that we can't lose in this moment, and the thing that made me want to say I need to get back on Celebrate, is the fact that y'all, again, really were acting as heroes, in the sense that we are still in this pandemic, you know, and y'all were on stage entertaining us, inspiring us, lifting us, reminding us of story, reminding us of ourselves, you know, and I it's not lost on me that like y'all were doing us all, you know, a big thing by going out there and say, I'm gonna put my body on the lines, particularly as actors, with these audiences coming in. So that's the other thank you that I really wanted to make sure I carved out for you and your company members. And
thank you. I mean, it truly was a blessing to be able to, you know, really usher back in Broadway, and to be one of the first productions to be a part of that, you know, and for us to you know, be where we were and, you know, being right next to Wicked. You know what I'm saying? We were
Yes,
right next to
right.
the biggest show
Yes,
on
right. That's right.
Broadway. You
That's
know,
right.
like, and it was just such a beautiful experience of, you know, seeing people who connected with the show, and it
That's
wasn't
right.
just Black people. It was
Right,
like
right.
I had all types of people coming to me after the show, or
Yeah,
even just see me in the city and
that's
say,
right.
I loved you in Chicken and Biscuits.
Yeah,
It brought me so much joy in this dark
yeah,
time. Thank you. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? And I think that's one thing that I realized even from after like our first preview. I was like, oh, we're doing something that's needed in this city, you know,
Totally.
and we're
100%.
telling a story that's needed not only for Black people but for all people. You know,
Absolutely.
it gives our show really gave people permission to laugh and
That's
permission
right.
to
That's right.
feel joy. And
That's
also,
right.
our show was one of the first, you know, for a lot of people's first show back since the pandemic. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it was the
Mm-hmm.
first time that they had been in a room of people other than their family or
That's right.
their friends. Like it
Right.
was the first time being and communing with people, because theater is a community. Because theater is, you know, it's church. You
That's
know,
right. That's right.
you
That's
are
right.
communing with, you know, so many different people who you don't know,
Yeah.
and so it was a blessing to be able to do that show then.
Yeah. Devere, that's excellent. I like to wrap these conversations up with 3 questions. The first one being, what does it mean to you to be celebrated?
What it means to me to be celebrated is someone truly seeing you and truly acknowledging the work that you do in front of and behind. You know, as far as when it comes to, you know, this industry and what we do, as far as being celebrated just in life, it's about letting someone know how you affect them. That's what it means to me. Like when I feel celebrated, or when I celebrate someone, it's about letting them know that you have affected me in this way and you changed me in some way, you know. And so that's what it means to me, you know.
Devere, thank you for that. Ooh, that's so good. What or who do you celebrate?
Oh my goodness. I feel like I celebrate so many people. I am one of those people where I I feel like I know some of the most brilliant people in the world.
Yeah.
And so one of my goals as an artist is to always celebrate those people. So I
Yeah.
love working with those people, which are my friends, which are the artists we came up with in New York, which is, you know, even now as I'm doing film and TV and I'm writing and doing all these things, I'm thinking of, I can't wait to call LA and say, hey, can you come
Right.
direct this thing for me? You
Yeah.
know, I can't
Yeah.
wait to, you know, call up all these people who we came up with. Like for me,
Yeah.
I am always in constant celebration of the people around me, you know, because
Yes.
because as yes, there are people who inspired us. So of course there is the Michael Jacksons and the James Earl Jones and the, you know, the Felicia Rashads and the people who inspire us to be better. But also I not only get inspiration from those type of people, but I get constant inspiration from the people around me and in
That's
my
right.
circle and in,
That's right.
because I think that a lot of times people can get so caught up in the name or who it's doing it. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? Like, or especially even like in the Broadway community, like who's on Broadway and who's not. There's so
Right.
many brilliant people who haven't even touched the
Brilliant.
Broadway stage.
That's right. And don't even want to.
And don't even want to. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Exactly.
And to be able to recognize those people, to be able to recognize
Right.
those artists, and to tell them that you are so worthy.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
and
That's right.
and that's why I'm blessed to be able to of course made my debut and have been on Broadway, but even if I had never done that, I knew what type of artist I was,
That's
you
right.
know,
That's true.
and
That's
I
right.
knew what I was meant to do in this world, whether I ever touched Broadway stage or not. So I'm blessed to have been able to do it. But I also just want to say that for so many artists out there who may feel like I haven't done this yet, or I haven't done that yet. It's like, yes, you may not have done this or done that yet, but you've done something that has changed someone's life.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what you have to remember. That's why
That's
we do what we do, because
That's
we
right.
love to tell stories and we want to affect change.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Oh, Lordy, that's so good. And finally, what do you do to celebrate you?
What do I do to celebrate me? You know, one thing that I do to celebrate me is I always go, it's crazy, but I always go back to the things that brought me joy when I was younger. So like when I want to celebrate myself, or when I want to just be with me and like tap back into who I am, I watch like The Wiz, or I'll watch like, I watch, the YouTube clips of the Tony Awards that I used to watch. You know what I'm saying? I watch things that really bring me joy, because I'm such someone where I tell everyone that, it's a choice to choose joy every day.
Yes,
because
it is every day.
Because there is so much that is happening in the world. There's so much that happens in people's lives, and it can be dark, and it can be, and it can seem like there is no light at the end of the tunnel. Right. But even in the midst of that, if you choose to see the light, there is always going to be an end. There's always going to be light. And for me, I tell people, like, I know I've always had the spirit of joy, the spirit of, light, but it's also, for me, I actively choose it too.
That's right. Yep. Oh, I know. Absolutely.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I actively
Mm-hmm.
choose that because for me, in my mindset, it's like, why not?
Why not?
You know what I'm saying?
Why would I choose the opposite of
why
that?
would I choose the opposite of that? And and for me, it's like, especially as artists, and especially as being in this industry, it's like, I feel like you have to choose the thing that is going to truly affect the world around you. And joy is one thing that every person has felt in some way. And joy is also something that is contagious. So for me, it's a thing of the biggest compliment, the biggest celebration anyone can ever tell me is, I just feel so happy when I'm around you, or you bring out joy in me, or you know what I'm saying? Like, that is the biggest compliment, beyond the work, beyond what I've done, all that. But to have someone be like, I feel happy when I'm around you. I feel like I can be my full self when I'm with you, because of your light, because of your joy. And that's literally what I lead with every single day of my life. And so when people, and it's crazy because, my friends always make fun of me, because they'll be like, how's life? How's that? And I'm always like, great. Blessed.
Yes.
I'm here. I'm doing what I love to do.
Yes.
It's like, I could complain, but why? For what? Because ultimately I'm doing what I've been put here on this earth to do. I love and I'm successful at that. So life is good.
Life is,
what I'm
actually
saying?
Really good. Yeah.
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
And for me, I try to get people to understand that it's okay for it to be that. Because I feel like people feel like, oh, this is happening, or oh, but it's okay to be like, life is actually good. Yeah. And believe that, and know that.
And to know that,
and to know that,
to believe it and know it. Devere, this is really good. This conversation. Thank you for that beautiful sharing just now. Thank you for that wisdom. Thank you for that affirmation. Yeah. Thank you, Devere. I'm just so happy our paths have crossed.
Yes.
I have always felt a sense of joy and upliftment anytime I'm in your presence. I celebrate you, Devere Rogers. I really, really do. I really, really do. I love you. I'm so happy for you. And I'm just so glad we did this thing. And, just know that you are so loved in this community, in this community, right? Not just this community, but like, and I know I'm not the only person who feels like, yes, Devere, yes, keep going. Yes. Congratulations on everything, and keep choosing joy, Devere. And keep spreading that message. Please keep spreading that message.
Yes.
Please, because everything you said is absolutely right on.
Yes.
Love it, love it, love it. Love you.
Love you. Love you so, so very much. Thank you so much for this. This has truly blessed me.
Let me tell you, Devere, your journey is so epic. I'm so glad to hear this gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful journey. It makes so much sense. So again, thank you for sharing, and we'll do this again soon.
Oh, we have
another
to.
time. We got to get together.
Yeah.
I love you. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
I love you so much. Talk to you so soon.
Okay, bye, Devere.
Bye.